So now we can sign up to the application, we can log out of it, but we can't yet log in. And that's the last piece to the puzzle here. So let's go about creating a login component, which will enable a user to log into the application. So over in the code editor, I'm going to keep open the navbar because we will update this login link pretty soon. But what I'll do first of all is create a new component for our login form. So over here inside auth, we'll create a new file, login.vue. Okay then, so first of all we need a template, and inside this template we'll do a div with a class of login and also a class of container, which is going to bring everything into a central column. Then inside this div, I'm going to put everything inside a card panel. Remember, this is a materialized kind of structure. So we'll do a form and give this a class of card-panel. All right then, now eventually we will be attaching a submit event to this form. We don't need the action, but we'll do that later. So inside the form, let's do an h2 first of all, and this is going to have a couple of classes. So we'll say class is equal to, and the first class is going to be center, just to centralize that text, and then the next one is going to be deep-purple-text. All right then, so we want this to say login. Now underneath this h2, we've got a few different fields. And again, we're going to have an email field and a password field. We don't need an alias field this time because we're just logging in. We only need their credentials, just those two things, email and password. So instead of writing out these from scratch, I'll come to the sign up component and I'll just grab these two fields from here. So we have email and password like that. Okay, so let's paste them in here. So we have a field for each one, then a label and an input for each one as well. So there's the two fields. We also need a button. So let's come down here and do another div with a class of field. And inside here, we'll do a button. And this is going to have a class of btn and also a class of deep-purple to color the background. And inside the button, we'll say login. All right then, so we have this kind of general structure sorted. Now we've got these vmodel directives associated with these input fields right here. So let's make these two data properties down here. We'll create a script tag and inside give this component first of all a name, and the name is going to be login. Under that we'll do the data function, which returns an empty object. And inside this object we'll create these two properties. First of all, email, which we'll set to null to begin with, and then password, which we'll also set to null to begin with. Now we will also be providing the user with some feedback at some point, so let's just create that now to get ahead of ourselves. Feedback will be null as well. All right then. So where are we going to output this feedback when we do give them some? We'll do it just above this last field, just above the button. So we'll do a p tag right here, and we'll use the v-for directive and set that equal to feedback. So this only shows when there is some feedback, not when it's null. And we'll output the feedback right here, like so. We will give this a couple of utility classes as well. First of all, we'll give it red-text. Then we'll give it a center class to centralize the text. And stupidly, I've said v4 here, and of course I meant v-if. We want to show this if feedback is not null. Okay, so now we have that template sorted. What I'd like to do is attach some kind of event, submit event, to this form. So we'll say @submit, and we want to prevent the default action, so .prevent to do that, and set it equal to a function. Now this function is going to be called a login, since that's what we'll be doing. So down here, let's create that function inside the methods property. So login. Now this is where ultimately we'll be logging in the user. But for now, let's just log to the console, the email and the password. So console.log this.email and this.password, just to make sure this is all working. So now if we hook this up inside the router file over here by adding in a new object, and the path will be /login. The name of this route will be login, and the component we'll be using will be login. Now we need to import that up here as well. So import login from, and it's at /components /auth /login, like so. Okay, now finally, let's just hook this up in the nav bar as well, because we have a link right here to the login page. So instead of the A tag right here, we'll do our router link tag instead. And this will go to, and the object inside will have a name property. And the name of the route we want to go to is the login route, like so. Okay, and let's get rid of this anchor tag and change it to router link as well. All right, so if we save this, hopefully everything should work. Now, if we go over here and go to logout, we get the sign up page currently. So we know we're logged out now. Now, if we go to login, then we get this login form. Now, it's currently not looking great. So first of all, I'd like to add in a couple of different styles. So let's head back over to the login component. Down here, we'll do a style tag. And in there, we'll say login and give a max width of 400 pixels. So this is the surrounding div up here. Okay. Next, we want to give it a margin top of around 60 pixels to bring it away from the navbar at the top. Okay, the next thing we want to do is grab the H2 inside the login div, and we'll give that a font size of 2.4 ems. And then finally, we'll just grab the login and the field divs inside that, and those will have a margin bottom of around 16 pixels just to spread them out from one another. So let's save that, view this in a browser, and that is looking a bit better. I'm just going to refresh because I don't think the styles are fully there. There we go, looking a bit better now. So if we try to log in with one of the emails that we've already created, then this should work. So I'll say sean@thenetninja.co.uk, and then the password was test1234. I'm going to log in, and now we can see this logged to the console. So obviously we're not logging in a user yet. All we're doing is grabbing the stuff that they type in and we're logging it to the console. But now we have this all set up, in the next video what we can do is actually take this information and log a user in to the application.